This is the future.
Aside from Warframe, I had the chance to play in the beta test of the first Descendant this weekend, and, after a couple of hours of playing, there was a smirk on my face and then I laughed seeing that playing the first Descendant is just like playing Warframe but in a different world. I don't want to brag, but I felt proud of myself that the game was too easy and it felt like the same grind in Warframe. You may think that the game is not fun judging from the things I am saying, but it's quite the opposite. I enjoyed the first Descendant, and honestly, if you are a long-time Warframe player like me, then you will also enjoy this game. Not just enjoy it, but you will feel proud and excited about this game, as it seems like you know what to do at first try. Okay, let me explain. First of all, the first Descendant can't be compared to the Outriders or even to the big flop named Anthem. The game has no similarities with these type of games. You may think at first that they are the same, as they are in the same genre, but when you actually play it, they have no identical similarities at all in terms of feature and gameplay. The best way to describe the first Descendant is that it's a game wherein the PvE environment is more like Destiny, but the way you gain power and the leveling feel like you are playing Warframe. If you have played Destiny 2 before, then you will certainly see the similarities of it in terms of boss fights, mechanics of the enemies, and the overall enemy mechanics, feels exactly the same as Destiny 2. Even some of the missions, like the consecutive survival, has a Destiny 2 feel, as enemies have these modifiers wherein they have increased HP of some type, and also elemental enhancement, and some of them even give invulnerability to their allies. Yes, it feels like XMS units, but honestly, I feel it more with the Destiny 2 vibes. Boss fights are also the same with Destiny 2, and to be honest with you guys, it's fun taking on the interception missions. It's crazy that I have seen a few players complain how hard the boss fights, and even other content creators who thinks that the boss fights are hard. Well, if you are playing Warframe, then you know what to do with any boss fights. There are two tips that I can give as a Warframe players to those who are struggling at these boss fights, and that is 1. Proper progression, and 2. Proper mod setup, or should I say, proper rune setup. The first Descendant has the same construct in terms of progression in Warframe. The missions are divided into nodes, which composes the main storyline of the game. In Warframe, you dive into planets and complete each nodes, while in the first Descendant, you explore the different area outside of Albion, and each area holds different missions nodes, and by the way, certain nodes does drop Descendant components, just like Warframed parts. Based on my playtime, the first Descendant did apply the same farming strategy for characters just like Warframes, and there are characters, which are considered ultimate variants, which I think are the prime variant of Descendants. Speaking of Descendants, they have the same characteristics as Warframes, and, when you play another Descendant, the whole playstyle will change. Say for example, if you choose Ajax as your starting character, you will definitely be a defensive type Descendant, and in my opinion, Ajax is the best for solo plays, especially finishing the whole story quest available in the beta version. Most of the missions in this game involves killing enemies, defending objectives, and reviving waves of enemies, and Ajax has all the toolkit to do this. He is a fun Descendant, especially for progression. But when you switch to Bunny, the whole playstyle shifts to a fast-paced Volt kind of action. She is fast and the best speed farmer in the game. I will make a progression guide on each Descendant later, so try to check it out. It's like switching from playing as a Grendel main to a Ghost main, and this is one of the best features that the first Descendant somehow replicate in Warframe. The leveling is also very familiar, and the continuous survival mission, wherein you dive to level up, somehow feels like the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. And also, there is a mastery in the game wherein you can level your mastery rank if you level your Descendant or increase the proficiency of your weapon, which is actually leveling your weapon. Each time you level your mastery, you are granted extra slot for weapon or runes. And speaking of leveling, each time you max rank your Descendant, which is level 40 by the way, you can reset it and apply some sort of format to the Descendant so you can equip more runes, which is equivalent to Warframe modding. The same goes with weapons. But you can't reset your weapons right now, or I'm still missing a feature which needs to be unlocked at a later progression. Let me know in the comments section if I missed something. In addition, runes can be upgraded, and it requires a resource and currency, which are equivalent to Endo and credits in Warframe. The best thing that the first Descendant did with their modding system is actually making elemental resistance matter in the game. I will make a guide also on this, but just a short friendly tip: missions in the game, including boss fights, has some elemental factors, and the best way to survive is to include elemental resistant runes in your build for each Descendant. Like every looter shooter also, the name of the game is farming. You progress to farm better loot, you level up to go into higher missions to find better loot. It's all about grinding, farming, finding better loot to get better DPS and defeat enemies so you can be rewarded with better loot again. This game also has a story quest, but it's kind of short, for we all know that it's still a beta test, so eventually, we will just get a portion of what exactly is the game. For fuck's sake, those people who says that the game is garbage and unfinished should stop. For the record, it's still in beta, so probably, you will just get a portion and will get the whole of it at the final version. One thing that I can complain about the story quest though is it's like Destiny 2, which has small cutscenes and NPC aren't involved in the quests. Instead, they will just talk to you in a communicator and guide you through your quest, and then, eventually you will have to see them once, and then a cutscene, and back to the communicator thing again. Because of this, you won't see any memorable character in the game aside from the guide, but it's still in beta, so we will see and give our final judgment at launch. The only thing that I don't like about the game is it has shitty graphics for my part and unoptimized in the meantime. I got a 2070 RTX card, running on Intel 7 with 32GB overkill RAM, and a 1080p monitor. Still, I can't run it at high settings. There are still FPS drops even if the game tells me that I achieved the recommended specs to run this game at high settings. Even tinkering with the Nvidia control panel doesn't do anything. The game is clearly unoptimized right now, and I am hoping that they will do something about it, given that they have many feedbacks from this beta test. Worst part about this is at day 1, there are no option to get rid of motion blur or change the graphics setting in an advanced manner, which pisses many beta testers. Another thing is, I'm kind of scared with the black mana currency of the game, which is eventually the most premium currency, and somehow, I'm thinking that this will involve you to purchase the currency with real money, so you can get things in the game. If they are planning to use this currency to unlock those ultimate version of Descendants fast, but allows us to grind for them, or trade with other players through the Caliber currency, just like what Warframe is doing with Prime parts, then I am down with this. If they somehow make this currency as Warframe's Regal IA system, then it's cool, but I am hoping that they won't be using this to let us buy progression in the game. Nexon is well known for their pay-to-win setup, even if they don't vocally admit it, and here's to hoping that they won't follow the same path where they fall over and over again. The first Descendant is actually a good mix of Destiny 2 and Warframe, and I'm sure most players who have played these grindy games for years will somehow like it. Give it a try as it's free, and if you see a red flag, then just leave. Right now, I don't see any crazy monetizations from the game, and I'm also hoping that this will continue at official launch date, which we still don't know. Right now, I'm enjoying the game since it feels like Warframe. It feels like I'm not playing a different game, but Warframe in a different dimension. The first Descendant is at its early stages, and I am hoping it will make a good progression. For Warframe players, you can make this as your second game, if you don't mind the grind and farming simulator mechanics, and fully enjoy looter-shooter genre. It's a different take of Warframe for me, and I'm kind of excited to build a community of the first Descendant and Warframe players on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Squad Leader signing off.